Phylogenetic relationships between the three domains of life. Before starting with the main topic, I would like to explain few terminologies. The first one is taxonomy. It is a biological science which deals with the identification of organisms. One of the functions of taxonomist or systematist is to provide a scientific name for every living creature. The need for a uniform international system of naming is obvious because common vernacular names for the same plant or animal varies from region to region and country to country. So it may have many disadvantages. Nomenclature. In biology, every organism is given two names. One is the name of genus and the other is the name of species. So this is known as binomial nomenclature system. And this system was designed by the famous scientist Linnaeus, who is also known as father of taxonomy. Then comes classification. To study the diversity among living organisms in an effective way, we need to arrange various kinds of organisms uh, in a systematic manner. The method of arranging organisms into groups or sets on the basis of similarities and differences is known as classification. So these are the three main scientists who are famous for their respective discoveries. The first one is Robert Whittaker. He is known for designing the five kingdom classification system. The second one is Charles Darwin. He is famous for proposing the theory of evolution. And the third one is Carolus Linnaeus. He is famous for giving binomial nomenclature system. Why we talk about classification? Because classification is very important for studying evolution, and our main topic phylogenetics revolves around the the evolution in the first life that originated on the planet Earth. So we know that any life that first appeared on planet Earth uh, gradually changed its form into different new species through the process of evolution. So classification of life forms is closely related to their evolution. Most life forms that we see today have arisen by accumulation of change in its body design that allow the organisms possessing them to survive better. And Darwin first described the idea of evolution in his famous book Origin of Species. So we always classify organisms on the basis of three main categories. The first one is structure of cells. So either the organism is prokaryotic or eukaryotic. The second one is the organization of cells, whether the organism is unicellular in nature or multicellular. And the third one is modes of nutrition, whether the organism is photosynthetic in nature or heterotrophic in nature. So this is the basic hierarchy of classification groups. Every organism that is present on Earth belongs to kingdom. It also has a specific phyla. It also belongs to a certain class or an order or family or genus or species. So we know that there is a great diversity of living organism. Uh, Maybe call it plant or birds or animals or even microbes. There is a huge biodiversity among them. So phylogeny means it's a basically branching diagram which we call phylogenetic tree. It shows how closely related different groups of organisms are to one another. Each branching point represents a common ancestor of the branching groups. So phylogeny refers to the evolutionary relationship between organisms. So before moving forward, I would like to show you a basic phylogenetic tree. This is how a phylogenetic tree looks like, and if you see my pointer here, this is the root of a tree. So we know that every tree starts growing from its root. So this root is the basic common ancestor. This may be the first life that originated on Earth, and from this ancestor many new forms of life originated, or many species originated. So if I give you a class activity of constructing a family tree of yours, so there must be your common ancestor, which may be your great grandfather. Let's say it your grandfather. Okay, so your grandfather had three kids. One is your father, the second one is your paternal uncle, and the third one is your paternal aunt or another paternal uncle. Okay, so your father, which is a new species to your great or your grandfather, has many children. So this is you, and all these new branches are your siblings. Okay, so your siblings are more related to you, are closely related to you as compared to your cousins, who belong to your paternal uncle. Okay, so this main uh, root has many branches, and these all branches have close relationship with one another. But we know that these species belong to one another more closely as compared to the distant branches, and they all make up one basic tree, which is known as the phylogenetic tree of life. So there are the three main domains of life. One is bacteria, the second one is archaea, and the third one is eukarya. So the first form of life was basically um, classified into three main domains: bacteria, archaea, and eukarya. And all the living organisms that ever lived on the planet earth, or which are presently living in the modern life, they either belong to bacteria, archaea, and eukarya, and even humans belong to the domain eukarya. Okay, so this three domain system was proposed by Weiss and some other scientists, and he studied the ribosomal RNA genotypes of the fossil records of all the extinctive species that ever lived on Earth, because the ribosomal RNA is highly conserved organelle, and its nucleotides do not change with the passage of time, and so they remain conserved, and we can easily study the relationship of the modern organism with the one who we call as ancestors. So we are basically the descendants of our common ancestors. This is how an RNA genotype looks like. It has two strains, and both the strains must have the same nucleotides to make the same genes. But here we can see that one nucleotide is replaced by other at one specific point. It means that a mutation is caused at this point, and we know that all the mutations leads to evolution, which means that this mutation may be converted into another new gene, and this new gene is passed on to the next generation, and the next generation may carry some different features than their parent generation or their ancestors. So these are the basic terminologies we use in phylogenetic tree, and I can better explain them in these images. So whenever the new branches originate from a root of a tree, they give rise to new species, and the process of formation of new species is known as speciation. So this taxon A is a new species, this taxon B is another species, and taxon C is another species. Taxon A and taxon B are known as sister taxa because they are more closely related to one another than the taxon C, which is distant relative. So this may be taxon A may be you, and taxon B may be your sibling, and taxon C may be your it might be your cousin. Okay, so this is the basic hierarchy or the classification order in which we put different organisms. First is the point from where the life originated, then it was converted into three domains. Each domain is further converted into kingdoms, and each kingdom is converted into phyla, class, order, family, genus, and species. So here we can see that the eukarya domain is further converted or classified into four main kingdoms, and the domain archaea is further converted into kingdom archaea, and the bacteria is converted into kingdom bacteria. Traditionally, we used to place bacteria and archaea into one kingdom, which was known as Kingdom Monra. But now the latest classification system is known as Six Kingdom classification, in which bacteria and archaea even placed in different kingdoms. But because the Five Kingdom classification is commonly used, so we will discuss only the traditional Five Kingdom classification. So eubacteria are known as true bacteria because they contain the basic peptidoglycan are present in the cell membrane. Archaea bacteria are known as odd bacteria because they do not contain the peptidoglycan, which is the very important molecule or organelle of prokaryotes. And then comes eukaryotes, which have nucleus and the other basic organelles of a cell. So now we will discuss cell features of all the three domains. The first one is archaea. It is a prokaryotic cell, and it has its specific ribosomal RNA, which is different from the bacterial or eukaryotic ribosomal RNA. It has different sizes. It varies in basically shapes and sizes, and it has different locomotory organs like flagella, which helps it movement. It has four main types. The first one is halophiles. The word means salt loving, so all those archaea which loves living in saltish environment are known as halophiles. The second one is acidophiles. The name tells that these archaea lives in acidic environment, so there are few archaea that even lives in highly acidic environment, which is the pH 3 or even lower than this pH. Third one is thermophile. They live in hot water and high temperatures. And the fourth one is psychrophiles. These are the type of archaea which loves living in freezing temperature. So these are the basic types of the environment in which different types of archaea live. The second domain is bacteria. They are known as the true bacteria because they contain the bacterial peptidoglycan in their cell membrane. They do contain ribosomal RNA, which is definitely different from the archaea and eukarya. They have different sizes, they have different shapes, which we have already studied in FSC. Like they come in cocci shape or rod shaped bacteria or spirillum. They have different locomotory organs like cilia or flagella. There are four different types of bacteria on the basis of mode of nutrition. One is photosynthesizers. These are the type of bacteria that can prepare their own food through photosynthesis. The second one is chemoautotrophs. They can prepare their food by breaking down the chemicals present in the soil. And the third one is heterotrophs. They depend on the dead organic matter. So they extract their food through the debris of the dead organic matter present in the soil. And the fourth one is pathogenic bacteria. They live by infecting other living organism, maybe it a plant, animal, or human. So the third domain is eukarya. So they are eukaryotic cells. They possess cell wall, but they do not contain peptidoglycan layer. They also have the ribosomal RNA, which is unique to them, and they vary in size, shape, and locomotory organs. This is the basic comparative table which compares archaea, bacteria, and eukarya on the basis of their cell membrane, gene structure, internal structure, metabolism, and reproduction. Now we will discuss the five kingdom classification, which is designed by Whittaker. The first kingdom is Monera. Traditionally, bacteria and archaea were placed in the kingdom Monera, and it contains the unicellular organisms with a prokaryotic cell organization. These are the single celled organisms with no true nuclear membrane. So they are both autotrophic and heterotrophic. So some of them photosynthesize their own food, and some of them are parasitic or saprophytic in nature. They reproduce by asexual mean of reproduction, which is binary fission. Their common examples are bacteria and blue-green algae. You can actually see them under a microscope. So the second kingdom is Protista. They are simple and unicellular eukaryotic organisms. So they are the highly primitive organisms that were present in the early life of Earth. They reproduce both by sexually and asexually, and their common examples are Euglena, algae, protozoa, and slime molds. They also have cilia, flagella, and pseudopodia for locomotion. Kingdom fungi, they're very interesting because they possess, some of them possess unicellular cell structure, and some of them are multicellular in nature. They do not carry out photosynthesis, and they obtain their food through absorption, so they are known as saprophytic in nature. And they also live in symbiotic relationship with algae. They are known as lichens or mycorrhizae, and their common examples are yeast, sac fungi, club fungi, and molds. Then comes kingdom Plantae. They are multicellular organisms composed of eukaryotic cells. They obtain their nutrients by photosynthesis and absorption. They reproduce by asexual vegetative propagation and also by sexual method, and their common examples are flowering plants, conifers, ferns, and mosses. Last but not the least, kingdom Animalia. Animals are the multicellular organisms composed of eukaryotic cells. The cells are organized into tissues, and they lack cell walls. They obtain their food by ingestion, and they reproduce by sexual mode of reproduction. Common examples are insects, animals, birds, and humans. Even we belong to kingdom Animalia. So this basic table shows the comparative analysis of all the five kingdoms of classification. Okay, so this is the last slide, which shows there is two modes of transferring genetic material from one organism to the other. The first one is vertical transmission. If you see my pointer, um, there are some species, even humans, when they reproduce, they transfer the genetic material to their next generation, and this type of transfer of genetic material is known as vertical transmission. Okay, the other one is the horizontal transmission. We have studied about transformation, transduction, and conjugation. They are the three main processes in which some bacteria and even viruses transfer their genetic materials. Um, as we know, in transduction, viruses infect bacterial cells and they transfer the genetic material in the genome of the bacteria. And this type of transmission is known as horizontal transmission of genes. Then there are some bacteria which exchange their plasmid genetic material. They are known as they're transforming their bacterial genotype. And the third one is conjugation, in which a sex splice formed between the two closely lying bacterial cells, and through this sex splice they exchange their genetic material. So this is the horizontal transmission of gene transfer. So that was all about phylogenetic relationship between all the three domains of life. Thank you.